Read an article from Mother Jones. This is called No, Charlie Kirk Was Not Practicing Politics the Right Way by David Korn, the Washington, D.C. bureau chief. His assassination deserves full condemnation. His full impact should not be sidestepped. Tragedy is a powerful shaper of narratives. In the aftermath of a horrific assassination of MAGA champion Charlie Kirk, a husband and father of two, it was natural that his allies, including President Trump, lionized him as a patriot, free speech advocate, and activist. And political opponents somberly denounced the terrible killing, as they should, with some hailing Kirk's devotion to public debate. There's a tendency in such a moment to look for the best in people, or at least to not dwell on the negatives. That can be a good thing. Yet, as Kirk is quickly canonized by Trump and his movement, on Thursday, Trump announced he would bestow upon Kirk a posthumous Presidential Medal of Freedom. A full depiction of his impact on American politics is largely being sidestepped. In promoting a story on the murder of Kirk, headlined "Charlie Kirk Killing Deepens Americans' Violent Spiral," Axios described him as a fierce champion of the right to free expression, whose voice was silenced by an assassin's bullet. New York Times opinion columnist Ezra Klein wrote, "You can dislike much of what Kirk believed, and the following statement is still true. Kirk was practicing politics in exactly the right way. He was showing up to the campuses and talking with anyone who would talk to him. He was one of the era's most effective practitioners of persuasion." Klein added that he envied the political movement Kirk built and praised his moxie and fearlessness. Here's the problem. Kirk built that movement with falsehoods, and his advocacy was laced with racist and bigoted statements. Recognizing this does not diminish the awfulness of this act of violence, nor does it lessen our outrage or diminish our sympathy for his family, friends, and colleagues. Yet, if this is an appropriate moment to assess Kirk and issue bold statements about his participation in America's political life, there ought to be room for a true discussion. Kirk, a right-wing provocateur who founded and led Turning Point USA, an organization of young conservatives, was a promoter of Trump's destructive and baseless conspiracy theory that the 2020 election was stolen from him. 2 days before the January 6th riot, Kirk boasted in a tweet that Students for Trump and Turning Point's action were sending 80-plus buses full of patriots to D.C. to fight for the president. After the attack, Kirk deleted the tweet, and he claimed that the people his group transported to D.C. participated only in the rally that occurred before the assault on Congress, where Trump whipped up the crowd and encouraged it to march to the Capitol. The New York Times subsequently reported that Turning Point Action sent only 7 buses to the event. Turning Point also paid the $60,000 speaking fee to Kimberly Guilfoyle, a MAGA personality, for the brief remarks she made at the rally. "We will not allow the liberals and Democrats to steal our dream and steal our elections," Guilfoyle told the crowd. Kirk took the fifth when he was deposed by the House J6 committee. $60,000 to say that? Even prior to the election, Kirk helped set the stage for Trump's attempt to subvert the republic. In September 2020, the Washington Post reported that Turning Point Action was running a sprawling yet secretive campaign to disseminate pro-Trump propaganda that experts say evades the guardrails put in place by social media companies to limit online disinformation of the sort used by Russia during the 2016 campaign. The messages Turning Point generated spread the charge that Democrats were using blackmail, were using mail balloting to steal the election, and downplayed the threat from COVID. Kirk's group called this story a gross mischaracterization. Whatever Kirk's group and supporters did on January 6th, he was part of the MAGA crusade that largely broke U.S. politics. Trump's refusal to accept his 2020 loss, his conniving to stay in power, and his encouragement of a lie that led to massive political violence greatly undermined American democracy and exacerbated the already deep divide in the nation. Kirk was a part of that. Yet Klein overlooks that in praising Kirk. And a New York Times piece on Kirk's political career made no mention of this, though it did report that he had been accused of anti-Semitism, homophobia, and racism, having blamed Jewish communities for fomenting hatred against white people, criticized gay rights, on religious grounds and questioned the qualification of black airline pilots. Kirk's advocacy of vigorous debate ought not to be separated from what he said while jousting in the public square. He hosted white nationalists on his podcast. He posted racist comments on his X account, including this remark: "If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified." He endorsed the white replacement conspiracy theory. After October 7th attack on Israel, he compared Black Lives Matter to Hamas. He called for preserving white demographics in America. He asserted that Islam was not compatible with Western culture. He derided women who supported Kamala Harris, 2024, for wanting careerism, consumerism, and loneliness. Or, as he also put it, Democratic women want to die alone without children. When Paul Pelosi, the husband of Representative Nancy Pelosi, was brutally attacked in 2022, Kirk spread a conspiracy theory about the crime and called for an amazing patriot to bail out the assailant. He routinely deployed extreme rhetoric to demonize his political foes. Kirk did enjoy debating others. He visited campuses and held events in which he took on all comers, arguing over a variety of contentious issues. He was a showman, and his commitment to verbal duking was admirable. He appeared proud of the harsh opinions he robustly shared, which means there's no reason now to be shy about them while pondering his legacy, right? Moreover, as a movement strategist, he relied upon and advanced lies and bigotry, including falsehoods that fueled violence and an assault on our national foundation. This was not a side gig for Kirk. It was a core component of his organizing. He did not practice politics the right way. He used deceit to develop his movement and to weaken the United States. His assassination is heinous and frightening and warrants widespread condemnation. It should prompt reflection on what is happening within the nation and what needs to be done to prevent further political violence. It should not protect him or others who engage in such politics of extremism from critical review. Yeah. Even though what's happening now is this: pardoned insurrectionists are using Charlie Kirk's death now to call for civil war. Charlie Kirk's assassination pulled me out of retirement. More work must be done. In the aftermath of Wednesday's assassination of right-wing youth leader Charlie Kirk, in the midst of more sober calls for mourning and moderation, many far-right influencers quickly began to call for revenge against the left, who they blamed for Kirk's death. They did so even though the shooter still has not been identified nor their motivations revealed. But now we know. But it's not just random individuals circulating such violent fantasy. Leaders of prominent extremist groups and pardoned insurrectionists have issued calls to their networks to seek revenge. In an email to Mother Jones, Devin Burgott, executive director of the Extremism Research Group of the Institute for Research and Education on Human Rights, expressed his concern that reactions to Kirk's death could energize the far right to intensify political violence, from street clashes and armed paramilitarism to calls for racist terror. Considering the message from Stuart Rhodes, founder of the Oath Keepers militia group, who was sentenced to 18 years in prison for his role in leading the Capitol insurrection on January 6, 2021, before being pardoned by President Donald Trump in January, along with 1,600 others. On Wednesday, he said on Alex Jones' InfoWars podcast that he would be restarting his organization in the wake of Kirk's killing. "I'm going to rebuild Oath Keepers," Rhodes said, "and we will be doing protection again." The group never formally disbanded, but has receded from the spotlight after their leader's conviction. "One thing we'll be doing is public protection of patriots again, like we used to. It's incredibly necessary," Rhodes added. "I'm sure the Proud Boys will agree. If we have to, we will go and ride the train again, just like the Guardian Angels did." He was referring to the New York vigilante group Republican mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa started in 1979. If his security team had been at Kirk's event, Rhodes said, the 31-year-old founder of Turning Point USA would still be alive. He also urged men to step up to do your tour of duty and start their own vigilante groups. It's not just the responsibility of Oath Keepers and Proud Boys to protect Americans in this environment. He continued, "It's the responsibility of all American men." He then suggested that they should start a neighborhood watch, and they should find someone who doesn't belong, let them know we're watching them. Threats weren't even necessary, but you can let them know you're watching, Rhodes said. Usually that's a deterrent. To what? Several others convicted insurrectionists also said they planned to avenge Kirk's death, noting that he has strenuously encouraged that they be freed from prison. Charlie was a huge advocate for our unconditional release. He helped restore the lives of 1,600 of us, wrote Enrique Terrio, leader of the militia-like group the Proud Boys, who was sentenced to 22 years in prison for his role in coordinating the attack on the Capitol. Seditious conspiracy. Him and Stuart Rose were sentenced to seditious conspiracy. He too was pardoned by President Trump. I think I can speak for all J6ers when I say thank you. We carry the torch. But you weren't there. I'm just saying. Anybody can come in on the heels of something and say, oh, if we'd been there, this would never happen. Jake Lang, who was accused of beating officers at the Capitol but avoided going to trial before being pardoned and is currently running for U.S. Senate in Florida, called for a 1 million-man march on D.C. to show solidarity with both Kirk and Irina Zurutska, a Ukrainian refugee who was killed on a train in North Carolina last month. The Trump administration and other Republicans have blamed Zurutska's murder on Democrats, alleging that the killing was directly connected to the party for being what they describe as too soft on crime. The killer, who had a lengthy criminal history, is facing federal charges. The time to rise is now, Lang wrote. Chris Worrell, a member of the Proud Boys, who was convicted of assaulting a group of police officers on January 6th and sparked a 6-week-long manhunt while he tried to evade the authorities. The political assassination of Kirk must see retribution, he wrote on X. Another convicted insurrectionist and Oath Keeper, Jessica Watkins, said, Charlie Kirk's assassination pulled me out of retirement. More work must be done. Just 12 hours earlier, Watkins had written to fellow Kirk fans who were upset about the shooting, talks about civil war are counterproductive. Please stop. It's not helping. Change your mind in, 5 minutes? The neo-Nazis weighed in. I mean, I would agree with her there. It's not productive. It's not productive, and it's not safe for any Americans. It's not safe for any Americans. I'm sorry, but I implore all of you thinking this way out there to look at your neighbors. Because, I have neighbors, and all my neighbors, I guarantee that most of them are not left-wing lunatics like I am. But they love me as a neighbor, and I love them back. And no matter who they vote for, I love these people. I'll go over and weed whack their yard. I help them. I help Merle down the street with his hedges. This is like an 88-year-old man. I know he's a Republican. The way that this administration, especially, the way that we've been divided is almost surgical. You have to understand that. This has been Russia's goal all along, was to divide the American people. And most people are just going along with it way too easily. Just way too easy, not even fighting back against it. I implore you to fight back a little against this. We can't just say, blanket, all left-wing Democrats are guilty. We're not. I hate what happened to Charlie Kirk. I do. I hate it. Fucking hate it. I hate that his wife and kids were there. I just hate it. There were a lot of conspiracy theories happening on the left too. One person was, well, not more than one person was saying it, was saying that they were about to do a thing where Charlie Kirk was supposed to get shot in the chest. He was wearing a bulletproof vest. He was supposed to get shot so that they could make a, use this as a rallying cry to go against the left. But they messed up and they hit the plate instead. And so the bullet ricocheted off the plate up into his neck. This was all over X too, so it's not just me. So I'm just saying, there are forces on both sides that are kind of edging us towards violence. Way more on the right than on the left. We don't have any militia members out there talking about how we need to fucking gear up and go. You guys, come on, can we stop? Like most of you out there who don't agree with me politically, I would probably still like you as a person. I would like your dogs. I would probably like your truck. I think you'd probably like mine. You'd like my dog. We're all neighbors. We all are. We are all Americans. You understand? We used to come together. We just had the 9/11 remembrance. We all came together after that. We used to come together after tragedies until propaganda and social media inundated us with bullshit all day from all sides. And now we really believe that the other side, there aren't two sides here. I think we've been conned. I think we've all been conned and then help feed into it in our own ways. We have to start reeling back from that and becoming one people again. We're one nation, right? Under God. Indivisible. I mean, until I guess social media just ruined us. We were that weak that we allowed Russia to divide us. What the fuck do I know? The neo-Nazis weighed in with a post on X from Nationalist Network leader Ryan Sanchez. A white nationalist network leader with a Hispanic last name. That's more common than you know. It's very common. Charlie Kirk must be avenged. We must destroy the left once and for all. In another tweet, he wrote, "White man fight back." On his website, Sanchez says he is fighting for J6 prisoners. Well, they're all out, so I don't know what you're talking about. As incendiary as these posts may appear, some experts do not believe the former insurrectionists pose as legitimate a threat as they did in 2021. These people cry civil war when Cracker Barrel changes their logo. That's true. I still don't understand the meltdown over that. That was so stupid, said John Lewis, a research fellow at the program of extremism at George Washington University. He sees some of the loudest voices calling for retribution, like Rhodes and Tario, as mere grifters, and adding, "I'm not worried about, like the Oath Keepers, bringing 1,000 guys to D.C. tomorrow." Lewis pointed to Tario's recent announcement that he would not attend a D.C. court hearing scheduled for Thursday, where he was supposed to appear in connection with a lawsuit that the Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Church filed and won against the Proud Boys for vandalizing its Washington, D.C. church building in 2020. They want me to travel to a totally unsafe D.C. in a time where conservative voices are under threat? Tario posted. Trump said it's all safe now. Big guy, big white power militia leader with suspiciously dark skin, Tario. Yeah. John Rennie Short, professor emeritus of public policy at University of Maryland, Baltimore County, the author of Insurrection, What the January 6th Assault on the Capitol Reveals About America and Democracy, sees the insurrectionist call for retribution as an effort to raise that anger level again. After losing their relevance with Trump's return to office, it's a great business model for them, he added. What these experts are concerned about, though, is how these messages from influencers with such a wide online reach could inspire lone actors to inflict violence. Yeah, that's a worry. That's a legitimate fucking concern. They're now being told that the same people who tried to steal this country away from you just killed Charlie Kirk, Lewis said. Someone has to do something about that. We just want universal health care. That's what we want. We want universal health care. We don't want nutcases to be able to just get guns because their mommies and daddies just leave them out or let them take them to their rooms. That's what we don't want, because every mommy and daddy knows their kids won't turn lone wolf. And then they do. So, gun safety, maybe, stuff like that. We want clean air. We want clean water. I don't have kids, but I want clean air and clear water for other people's kids. I want America to be the land of equality for everybody, like it was supposed to be. Like, I want it truly to be equal for everyone. Is this why there was a big attack on HBCUs? I mean, I've never gotten the answer to that question. I asked it the night before I went to bed the other day, and my TikTok account was banned when I woke up. So there's also a concern that the Trump administration may use the insurrectionist sense of grievance to, as Burghardt put it, further their authoritarian plans. After all, Attorney General Pam Bondi already fired multiple prosecutors who pursued cases against the insurrectionists, and both FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino have promoted conspiracy theories about the attack. In the address to the nation Wednesday night, President Trump explicitly blamed his political opponents for Kirk's death. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals.
This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism we're now seeing in this country today. And it must stop right now.
What about the whole run-up to his election where he was talking about us on the left as vermin, as fascists, as Marxists, communists, fascists, because he doesn't know the fucking difference between those three things. There's a big difference. Rennie Short sees Trump's baseless politicization of the tragedy as serving to distract from some of his own troubling political failures. It takes attention away from the Epstein files, he said, from Israel's bombing allies, or Putin continuing to savagely attack Ukraine. Nonetheless, this messaging from the insurrectionists and echoed by the highest officials in government could still have serious consequences, especially for people who already assaulted law enforcement on January 6th and were pardoned. Lewis said, there is certainly going to be an expectation that if they answer the call again, they could have the same outcome. Like, I got a get out of jail free card forever and ever, amen. I can see how they might think that. I can. Thanks for watching, guys.